Yeah, I decided to write the book purely based on what I was seeing with children and the changes I was seeing over the years. And over the last 10 or 15 years, I've seen a real change in what I'm presented with as a sports coach and how different children are now. Some of the changes are quite negative in my view, and I think it's important that we start addressing some of these issues. And I felt like by writing this book, I could add a positive approach to bringing children up with the right values and learning the right social skills, because I feel like at the moment the way we're allowing them to behave and use their time is not helping them develop properly. I wrote this book for parents because I felt if I pass this information on to anyone else, it might be interesting to them, but they can't actually directly apply it. So it's more of a manual for parents to just have some ideas and some structure to how they encourage their children to play sport. And it doesn't mean that they all have to play competitively, but I just feel that parents should be trying to encourage their children to have some physical aspect of their life, just to balance out what we're currently doing with technology and social media and things like that. It's very clear that we're seeing a lot more children with behavioural issues. Attention issues, lack of ability to focus, and also from a sporting perspective, lack of coordination, and children that are probably getting injured a bit more than they used to as well, just because their bodies haven't been strengthened or accustomed to moving very much. It almost feels like in this day and age, children are just moving from one piece of technology to the next, and their body is just a vehicle for them to get to the next piece of technology. Whereas in previous eras, people would be playing outside all the time. That's how they entertained themselves, and that was probably a lot more of a healthy way to grow up, and socially as well, by actually interacting with people in the real world. I think that's a much more positive way to grow up as a child. How clever children are now at using technology is very impressive, how quickly they pick it up, and these creative ways they're able to use it. I think that's going to be good for their future. I can see some children that are even more athletic than ever because of their access to facilities and technology. That's better. So if they are doing the right things, they can be better than ever. But the average child, in terms of their athleticism, their focus and their coordination, is significantly lower than they used to be when I was 15, 20 years younger, teaching children. I think the three main rules for parenting would probably be: number one, be very positive, focus on the positive, because children do not respond to their parents if they're negative. They often go the other way. So what you're trying to do as much as possible is go with them, with where their interests are. And whilst I'm talking about encouraging sport, I think you should expose them to sport and then see what they gravitate towards, and then encourage them positively in that direction. Secondly, will be tied to the first point, would be communication, and just making sure you're communicating in the way that your child responds to. And they are all different, but there are some sort of common mistakes that parents make, I believe, with the way they communicate with their children. I've written about that in the book. For example, one concept would be the helicopter parent, and that's the parent who's always there, always looking over the child, whatever they're doing, and they don't actually allow their child to grow by themselves. So I think communication is really important, and just thinking about how you are communicating with your child. And the third thing, I suppose, would just be to try and encourage them to have a passion for a sport, so that it's natural that they want to do it, as opposed to you trying to push them into it. So if they do show an enthusiasm for a sport, really try and latch onto that and give them an opportunity to grow that love of physical activity, so that when they're older, they've got things that they can really enjoy doing in their adult life.